and a win for the rights and liberties of the citizens of California. Judge Roget Benitez issued an injunction prohibiting the enforcement of California's ammunition background check and anti-importation laws. So we'll ponder what this means next on the Constitution Study.
There's one thing you have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from a long through line of everyday Americans.
Hello there, everyday Americans. Paul Engel here with the Constitution Study, where we read and study the Constitution and we teach the rising generation to be free. I'm glad you could join me. As always, please head over to the website constitutionstudy.com. That's where you'll find everything I'm working on with the Constitution Study. You can ask questions, you can find material to share, you can simply comment. You can sign up for the newsletter. You'll get a monthly update on what's going on here at the Constitution Study and the chance to have these videos sent directly to your inbox as soon as I release them. Mostly, you have the chance to participate in a community where we are reading and studying and learning about the Constitution for ourselves. And a great example of how this can be helpful, we're going to talk about this Benitez order in the California background check case. Now, reading from Judge Benitez's order, quote, "The experiment has been tried. The casualties have been counted. California's new ammunition background check law misfires, and the Second Amendment rights of California citizens have been gravely injured. For the reasons that follow, the motion for preliminary injunction is granted." So using some lovely language, the judge says, hey, we tried this experiment, and the casualties it's caused have been counted. Yes, the California ammunition background check law, it misfires. It doesn't work. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. And for that reason, he's issued this preliminary injunction. Now, that doesn't mean the law is gone. It just means it cannot be enforced until the case has been heard. Why? Because of the damage that it does, the casualties that it causes. Reading on, it says, quote, "The purported state interest to be achieved by these new laws is keeping ammunition out of the hands of prohibited Californians. These new laws are constitutionally defective for several reasons." Okay, so the reason of the laws is to keep ammunition out of the hands of people in California who, via due process, have lost the right to keep and bear arms. That's a laudable goal. But the problem is, the law is constitutionally defective. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal. And the judge is going to go through and he's going to list several reasons why. Now, I love the way he puts it as the state interest, because very often compelling state interests or compelling government interests are used to overturn your rights. They're saying your right can be suspended if there's a compelling government interest. Well, first of all, that's wrong. That's illegal. That's immoral. It's unconstitutional. But here we have a judge that's going to say, no, it is constitutionally defective, and I'm going to list for you why. Why? Well, let's take a look. First, criminals, tyrants, and terrorists do not do background checks. The background check experiment defies common sense while unduly and severely burdening the Second Amendment rights of every responsible gun-owning citizen desiring to lawfully buy ammunition. So problem number one, if the goal of these laws is to keep ammunition out of the hands of prohibited people, they don't work. Why? Because the people most likely to be prohibited don't go through background checks. Criminals, tyrants, and terrorists are not going down to the local gun store saying, please do a background check on me before I buy something. It defies all logic. It explodes the very idea of common sense. It's ridiculous. And in doing so, it severely burdens the rights of responsible, legal, law-abiding gun owners in California, or just anybody that wants to buy ammunition. So here we have two compelling interests. One, keeping the ammunition out of the hands of bad people, which it fails. And two, protecting the rights of the citizens of California, which it also fails. So for these two reasons, the judge is putting a halt on this law until it can be heard fully in court. Going on. Second, the implementing regulations systematically prohibit or deter an untold number of law-abiding California citizen residents from undergoing the required background checks. So the judge is saying, guess what? These regulations prohibit or deter who knows how many law-abiding California citizens who want to get ammunition but are unable to because they can't go through a background check. Why? Because you don't go down to the local ATM to get a background check. You have to pay money to get a background check. You have to go someplace, an FFL, or in this case, California licensed gun dealer, and pay them to go through a background check to buy ammunition. Continuing on. Third, in the 7 months since the implementation, the standard background check rejected citizen residents who are not prohibited persons approximately 16.4% of the time. So if it isn't bad enough that the laws create a system that's designed to deter people from purchasing ammunition, here we see 16+% of the time, people who are legally able to buy ammunition have been denied because of the background check system. In other words, the system that California wants its residents to go to be sure they are not prohibited people are flagging people as prohibited about 1 out of every 8 that are not prohibited. 1 out of every 8. Actually, a little more than that. Right? 1 out of every 8 would be 12.5%. So a little more than 1 out of every 8 is being denied something they are legally authorized to do. The system is broken. And even if the problem can be worked out later, a right delayed is a right denied. So the system is broken. It does not work. The judge goes on for his fourth and final point, quote, fourth, the ammunition anti-importation law directly violates federal dormant commerce clause. This to me is a little shaky. So yes, Congress has the power to regulate interstate commerce through what is called the Commerce Clause. Now that is Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution, which reads, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. Now the question is, does the fact that Congress gets to make to regulate commerce between the states, mean a state doesn't have the authority to regulate commerce within its state? In other words, the ability to import. That one's kind of shaky. I'm not so sure. I'd have to kind of noodle on that one a bit more. But after 3 really good reasons why he should implement this injunction, the fourth one being weak, I guess I'll let him get away with it. What we have here, to me, is the rare situation of a judge actually doing what the courts are designed to do. He's taking a situation, he's taking a case, and he's looking at the parties, and he's saying, you know what? There is an injury being had. It's not a theoretical injury, it's a physical, it's a real injury, and it's happening right now, and that is citizens of the state of California are being unduly burdened to exercise a constitutionally protected right. They're being inappropriately rejected from purchasing ammunition under the law, and the law itself just doesn't pass the smell test. And I find it refreshing to have a judge issue not only an injunction that I think is properly issued, but to give us such a nice lesson on constitutionality in the way he delivers it. And by the way, this is just a synopsis. If you wish, you can follow the link and you can read the entire reasoning behind the issuing of this injunction. I just took the beginning and said this was a good example of looking at a situation saying it's constitutionally dubious, it doesn't work, there's no reason a compelling interest should so badly manipulate the rights of individual citizens. So to this judge, Benitez, and if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm terribly sorry. I say thank you. Thank you for doing a good job. I hope the people of California appreciate what you're doing. And I hope the rest of the people in California will take a look at the people they hire to represent them that pass such legislation and say, no. Am I expecting that to happen? Not really. But we have to start somewhere. See, what I love here is, here you have a great example. The legislature of California passed a law, and it was challenged, and it got looked at the court, and the court, while it hasn't made a final decision, certainly seems to be looking at it saying, you've got problems. Now it's up to the legislators of the state of California to fix it or to scrap it. And it's up to the people of California to decide whether or not the representatives they hire, the people they have hired to work as their agents in their state government, are doing a good job or not. Now, you may like these types of gun control laws, but the question is, does a state have the right to violate the rights of its citizens just because some people don't like the way they use their rights? So thank you, Judge Benitez. Keep up the good work. Hopefully the people of California will support not only this particular injunction, but support the return of rights and liberties to the state of California. And hopefully you found this interesting enough, you'll hang around, and I'll see you the next time on the Constitution Study.
There's one thing you have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from a long through line of everyday American.